Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of Eisenwald, I would like to thank you all for taking time to attend today's webinar from chaos to compliance. As you can see, this is our afternoon's agenda. We'll start with a brief introduction that I am doing. Then I'll hand it to my colleague and co-founder Vipul to help us showcase some examples of how HR departments use Eisenwald. We'll open up for questions, and then we'll briefly showcase what the Eisenwald solution is and what are the primary features that are used by customers across the globe in Eisenwald. Over the next hour, we'll explore the dynamic world of digital transformation and its profound impact on the future of business. In this presentation, we'll delve into the driving forces of digital disruption, the core pillars of digital transformation, and how modern organizations are leveraging a technology to be ahead of competition. In our opinion, there are four pillars on which digital transformation rests. I'll spend more time on two of them. Customer centricity, which essentially means that anything that you do digitally should be centered around the customer and his requirements. So being digital helps you get real-time feedback and helps you retain customers in the hyper-connected world. Just give me a minute. I've been advised to switch on my video, guys. Is it fine now? Once an organization goes digital, there's a lot of data that you get and you can mine and make mid-course corrections in your digital transformation journey. And being digital helps you be agile, you can innovate, you can make changes. And to top it all, if your organization is digital, there's usually a seamless integration between different technology systems within the organization, which could be an HRMS, your ERP, your accounting systems, and others. So being on a unified digital global system helps streamline operations, enhances collaboration, and optimizes overall efficiency. Whenever a change or a new system is introduced in any organization, or even in schools or in families, there are usually challenges or there's inertia that comes in. So in organizations, primarily, we see that there are a lot of legacy systems that organizations have. Moving out of them and moving to new ones at times is a huge challenge. With things going online, technology being used, there are concerns around digital security, privacy concerns. There's legislation and regulation around it, so organizations should be careful to ensure that they are ticking all the boxes in the regulatory manner. And in any change management or managing aspirations of people involved in the entire organization, which is changing, is very important. So a change management process, a cultural shift within the organization, something that needs to be taken care of. If and when organizations decide to go digital, this is a simple, I would say, a checkbox or a list of things to do that we would recommend. We would recommend that an organization assesses its current state. What systems are used in which department? Do you use a existing CRM? Do you use an existing invoicing software? Do you use an existing accounting software? From there, decide where you want to be, set clear objectives of how you want to transform your organization and where you see yourself in a few years. Based on that, develop a comprehensive plan, which is measurable. There are milestones in between which can be check-in processes. And periodically, you can measure success based on the milestone that you have set. In any organization, departments or functions which easily lend themselves to digitization, a supply chain where you can manage your vendors, your external third parties that you work with using technology. Sales and marketing, primarily they use CRM systems where they get in leads, they manage them through the whole sales process. Finance and accounting to accounting softwares, some homegrown like Tally and global ones like Oracle, FICO and others are used. Human resources uses a lot of software tools to be efficient, and document management can be one of them. We'll probably show you some ways in which Eisenwald is used by HR departments to make the work easy and simple and be efficient. Next. So these are some of the functions within the HR department which can leverage on technology to be helping all stakeholders involved in the organization, which could be external people that are hiring in, which would be the recruitment process. You can take that online. Once you make an offer and recruit a person, you can onboard that person electronically and make it a seamless integration with the organization, making his joining into the organization easy. Once a person is on board, his day-to-day work and his goals can be managed electronically on a talent management system. Their annual performance appraisals can happen online, and uh, so can learning and development, where there could be a knowledge library, there could be information about company policies and others that can be shared. And the document management system actually lends itself very easily to something like this. And a constant employee engagement can happen 24/7 using technology also. I'll hand over from here to my colleague Vipul, who would demonstrate how we help organizations uh, use Eisenwald to be efficient, and he would show some features, and after that I'll probably talk of all other features that are there on Eisenwald that our customers use.
Thanks for that, Vinay. So, as Vinay said, I'm going to demonstrate a few features of Eisenwald that are very relevant for human resources. I'll focus on 4 or 5 features. I won't go through each and every feature of the system, simply in the interest of time. So I'm going to talk about how employee contracts can be managed, also how policies and manuals can be managed and how they can be disseminated to employees. I'm going to show you how approval workflows can be run and how external documents can be collected. So let's start. The first thing I'll show you is contracts. So let's assume that the client here is a hospital and doctors are a type of employee. So here we have a repository called doctors contracts. Now in this repository, you can see that there are different users with different access levels. I won't go into the details of that, but just for your knowledge, you can have different access levels for different users and control who can see what and who can edit what. Going into the document library, let's go into the hospitals folder. So now let's say you've just hired a new doctor and you want to create their record in the system. So we have created these customized folder names. So for example, let me create a Dr. Indonesia folder. Some of these fields are mandatory, some are optional, but these are completely customizable depending on the customer's use case. So in this particular case, the hospital wanted to capture a lot of data for each and every contract, but you may choose to have only 3 or 4 fields, or you may choose to have many more fields than this, completely customizable. So I'll fill in some of these fields. And let's give the agreement a start date and end date. So let's say start date is 1st July, and end date, let's say, is 2024, 1st of July. So it's a 1-year contract. So what this means is that when you approach the expiry date, the system can start sending reminders to the HR team or to the legal team saying that this particular employee's contract is about to expire, and then they can be reminded to take appropriate action, which could mean that they either choose to renew the contract or cancel it or renegotiate. So this has created a folder for this Dr. Stephen Surojo. Come in here. Now let me upload a dummy contract here. Okay. Now I'll open this document. And you can see the document preview here in what we call only Office. It's actually possible to edit this within the browser itself, so you don't actually need Microsoft Office. But what I'll do now is I'll change its type. So right now it's a default content document, but I'll change it to be a Indonesia doctor's contract. And once I do that, you see all these properties get populated. And all the fields that we entered while creating the doctor folder, their values get automatically populated next to the document as well. So it'll be possible to search by these field values and find documents. And it'll also be possible to set various workflows, including the expiry notifications based on the values of these fields. And you obviously have version controls. If a document is edited, you can see multiple versions of the document here. It's possible to subscribe to a document, which means that if I subscribe to it and somebody else comes and makes a change to it, I will get an email notification telling me that this document is being changed. And it's also possible to look at the document's audit trail. I'll just show you that quickly. That's a useful feature. So this shows the entire history of the document. So it was created by user Vipul on 27 July at 3:14 p.m. And all these properties were set. And then it was viewed again, and an aspect was added. So the entire history of the document is recorded here. Now, if I go back to the top level, I'll just go into the hospital folder again. Now you'll see that for this doctor, it says there are 11 documents missing. For this other doctor, it says there are 14 documents missing. So it's actually possible to tell the system what are the different kinds of documents that are required for a particular employee or a employee in a particular unit. And the system keeps track whether all those documents have been created or not. And you can actually run reports, which will tell you that for employee XYZ, these 3 or 4 documents are missing. So I'll show you some examples of these reports. So if I go into this compliance report, there are some old reports here. And let's download one of these. So here in Excel, it tells me that for this particular doctor, let's say for Dr. Nitin Kakkar, these 3 are blank. So which means that these 3 documents are missing. And this one is present. Similarly, for this other doctor, this one document is present, but the others are blank. So this kind of report can be customized depending on your exact use case. So that's mainly it for contracts. Let me show you how we handle policy documents and how they can be disseminated. So going into this policies and manuals folder, go to central policies. So here, let me upload a new document. So when I'm uploading it, it tells me to select what is the kind of document. So in this case, it's a central policy document. Once again, all these fields can be customized depending on what you want to capture. I'm just filling in some of the mandatory fields here. Okay, so now the policy has been uploaded. When I click on it, I can see all the details as previously. One thing you'll notice is there's a field here called is acknowledgement required. Right now, it doesn't have a value set. But as a department manager, I can go change this. I can say acknowledgement required, yes. And I say save. So now what happens is I get this button which says acknowledge. So if I log in as a different user, I'm just going to log in as a user who has only view access. So this is another feature I'm demoing, which is that we have done a single sign-on with Microsoft 365. So it is possible to use systems like Microsoft 365 or even your Google G Suite or LinkedIn or others to do a single sign-on. So you don't necessarily have to use the username and passwords that are built into our system. You can use Active Directory and various other systems to do single sign-on with other systems. In this case, I'm showing you a Microsoft single sign. Okay, so going back to that same policy document. So here, this user only has view access. So you can see there are no edit options available here. Whereas if I look here, where I'm logged in as a manager, I see options like edit in only office, edit offline, upload new version, and various other things. Whereas a viewer only sees acknowledge and view workflows, and they see the properties, but they can't edit the properties either. Like here, you see an edit button on the properties. Here you don't, but you do see the acknowledge button. So if I click acknowledge, it means that I've read the document and I acknowledge that I've read it for compliance purposes, right? Coming back here, I can acknowledge it as this user also. Now you can actually run reports to see who has acknowledged documents and who hasn't. On this acknowledge report folder, I just click acknowledge report, and that will generate the latest report. Now I'll go inside it and I'll simply download the latest report. So here you can see for various documents, it shows you who acknowledged them and when. So for example, this hospital policy spills, which is at this location, was acknowledged by these two users on this date. And this other document was acknowledged by this one user on this date. So a full report of the department can be generated this way. And this allows you to then go and speak to the people who haven't acknowledged them. And you can ask them to go and read the policies and acknowledge them. This was policies and acknowledgement. Let me switch to a different instance and let me show you how we can get external users to upload documents. So imagine a scenario where you're onboarding a new employee and the new employee needs to send you certain documents. So for example, they may need to send you an ID card. They may need to sign a contract and send it to you. They may need to send a copy of their resume and various other things. So you can send them a link generated from the DMS, which will allow them to upload their documents. So for example, I've generated this folder, employee document upload folder. I go and say, request external document upload. It tells me to specify what are the documents I want. Again, this list can be customized depending on what you require. Let's say I'm asking a person called Ripple, give an email address, employee ID, and you can specify when this URL will expire. So I can say that this expires after 2 days. So after 2 days, they won't be able to upload anything. And I say, okay. So successfully generated. Now I check my email and I have a message here. This says Columbia Asia because that was just a demo we done for one of our customers, but this name can be changed to be your company's name. I'll click this. It gives me a simple uploading form. Again, I can enter my name, email. Employee ID in this case is not mandatory. And I'll select some documents. So and I say upload. Upload is done. Back here, and click inside this folder. So there's a folder created with this employee's name. And here, the two files are present. And it gives the full detail. So it says that this file is uploaded by an employee whose name is this, with email ID this, right? And if I open it, I can see the PDF being previewed here. There are lots of different actions possible on the PDF. Now, while we're on the PDF, I want to show you one more interesting feature we have, which is electronic signatures using eMudra. So eMudra is the government-approved electronic signature provider in India. We also have tie-ups with other electronic signature providers in other countries. So I'll show you how this works. So I'll click eMudra sign, and it'll take me to the eMudra interface. Here I can drag this signing box to the place where the signature is going to be entered. It's possible to sign using Aadhaar and the USB sort of DSC tokens that eMudra issues, and the various other ways also. But today I'll just demonstrate how to sign using a simple drawing. I'm just going to sign my name here. Sign. Refresh this. And you can see the signature has been inserted here. I'm going to download this. And then I'm going to open this in Adobe Acrobat. So Adobe Acrobat goes and verifies all the signatures. So these are proper encrypted signatures, which have a signing authority actually certifying them. If I click it, it actually gives me the details. Right now it says the validity is unknown because we're using a demo account. But in production accounts, it will have a full validation done, validated by a third party. You can see the full details here. So it certifies that the document has not been modified since the signature was applied, and various other things. So this is a legally acceptable digital signature in India. And the last thing I wanted to show you was document workflows. Let me create a new folder. Let's call it, let's say, upload folder. And here I will set what we call defined workflow. And I can say who should documents go for approval to. So when you upload a document in this folder, it will start going to different users for approval. So let me set the first user as myself. Second user will be somebody else. And you can have as many users as you want. So it'll first go to me for approval, then it'll go to the next guy for approval, and so on. Okay. This was the photo. So here I can drag and drop a bunch of documents if I want to do more than one document, or I can drag and drop entire folders. So let's say I drag and drop this entire folder. It'll upload all the documents inside that folder. And these workflows are customizable. You can customize it so that documents go not only to one person, but to multiple people for approval at the same time, rather than sequentially. And various other combinations are possible. We can customize those for you. So you can see on these documents, there's a little workflow sign, which means that these documents have gone for approval. Now I'll look at my inbox, and sure enough, there are multiple emails, multiple documents. I'll open a incognito window. And here I can see all the documents are there in my my task inbox for me to look at and approve. If I open one of these, you can see it's a history here, and I can preview the document here. And then I can either approve or reject with a comment. So I can say, for example, this is fine and approve. So now it will go to the next person for approval. Right. Back here, if I come to the folder here, this was so if I open any one of these documents and I look at this view all workflow action, it actually shows me the history. So it says right now, this document is with Abhishek and Abhishek has to approve it. I say view comments, it shows me a more detailed history. That it was started by the administrator for approval, right? And then Ripples for Roof has already approved it. And it's gone now to Abhishek for approval. So that's it about workflows. Another quick thing I want to show you is that the system actually can send these updates on a daily basis or as it happens basis. It can send an email to the users who have access to a particular folder or a particular department, and it tells them what activities have been happening. So administrator added a PDF into this department, or administrator added 6 documents, and so on. So I think that's it for a very quick demo of the system. I'm happy to take any questions at this point. If you have further questions and you want to see a more detailed demo, please do reach out to us over email. Our email address would be sales@eisenwald.com, and we will be happy to set up a detailed demo for you. And switch back to presentation.
So there are a couple of questions that people, there's a question for you if you want to take that.
Okay, there's a question in the chat that says, can you store earlier versions of documents, and how many versions does the system allow? So yes, you can store multiple versions of documents. There is no limit to how many versions the system allows. You can always restore to older versions. You can download older versions. It keeps the entire history, the entire version history. There's another question. Will the onboarding link expire in a stipulated time? Yes. So as I showed you while creating the onboarding link, you can specify a date when the onboarding link will expire. So often our customers choose to give 2 days. You can give as many days as you like. It can be 1 day, it can be 10 days, as much as you like.
People, there's another question. Do you have a way for someone to approve documents before they are made visible?
Yes, there is a way to do that. We call it the maker checker functionality. I don't think we have time to actually do a demo of that, but it is possible to do. If that is something you want to see, do reach out to us and we can set up a detailed demo for you. Okay, if no further questions, I'll just share my screen again and then. Okay, sorry, one more.
People, you're mute.
Sorry. So I said there are multiple ways that documents are stored. We, for most of our customers, we deploy our servers in the cloud, which means your documents are also stored in the cloud. We do 99% uptime, but in the rare instances when the server is actually down, yes, you're right. It is difficult to access this. I mean, not possible to access it via the web browser and look at the document, but we have an offline sync feature, which allows you to keep all your documents synced to your laptop or your desktop. And you can actually view documents offline in that case. We also have an on-prem version of our system, which is deployed on the company's own servers. So in that case, there's no dependency on our servers. And all your documents are backed up regularly. So we do geo-redundant backups, which means that if your documents are being stored, say, in a Bangalore data center, we would take a backup to a Mumbai data center or to a Nagpur data center and so on. So in case there's a any natural disaster in one place, the documents are still there in some other place. All right, I'll share my screen and hand over to Vinay again to talk a little bit about Eisenberg.
Thanks, Vipul, for the crisp demo. Vipul covered some features that HR departments use. There are a number of other features also there. In the next 5-7 minutes, we'll probably give. I'll give an overview of what Eisenwald is and some of the key features. And if you need a demo or want to know more about Eisenwald, you can reach out to us, like Vipul said, on sales@eisenwald.com. Next slide. Not refreshed on my screen yet. Share. Shall I share this screen? Yeah, Vipul is just sharing the screen. Just give him a minute, please. Yeah. Eisenwald is built using modern technologies. It's a very flexible system. It can be customized to the requirement of prospective customers, and in most of the cases for our customers, we do customization. There are multiple ways in which customers access Eisenwald. The most primary way in which they do is through web browsers, but customers also have an option of using mobile apps. We support iOS and Android apps. And like what Vipul mentioned, at times, customers have an option of either replicating the whole instance or all the document folders on the cloud to their computers, or just selecting a few folders that they think are relevant and they may need offline to their personal computers. And that actually depends on the organization if they want to allow that to happen or not. We know of some organizations which are very, very particular that none of the documents are supposed to be backed up on a particular system. Uh, Given that it is hosted on a central server, can you see on this? In a central place, you can browse, you can access the database from, or you can access Eisenwald from anywhere. You could be remotely located, but if you're connected to your company's server on premises, or because it's on the cloud, you can just type a URL in your browser window to be able to access Eisenwald. We support full text search, even if you store images which are taken from your phone or scanned from your scanner and store it in Eisenwald. We run OCR scripts which would make the document full text searchable. So even if you type a single word which is a part of your document, you should, in all probability, you'll be able to find it. Vipul did show you audit trails. Version histories are possible, as Vipul mentioned. You can have multiple versions of a document stored in the system. You can revert back to any earlier version and make that the most current one. Or if you think the number of versions has exceeded what you'd like, you can actually go and delete specific or earlier versions whenever you'd like that to happen. We integrate with a third-party software called Only Office, which helps you work collaboratively. Multiple people can work on documents which are Excel, Microsoft PPT, Word, and others, and multiple people can actually edit it together on the system itself. Workflow approvals and document approvals were shown by Vipul, so I'll probably skip that. So one of the key ways in which most of the organizations use Eisenwald is to create a single source of truth, which essentially means that multiple versions of the same document are not floating across different computers of members of an organization. So Eisenwald is the single source of truth, and whatever is on Eisenwald is the final and the most dependable copy. We also integrate with a robotic process automation. If you need to extract information from documents and populate metadata fields, we have the capability of doing that. We have certain reports which are built in, and more customized reports can be built the way people showed you compliance reports and acknowledge reports. If there are any other specific reports that a customer would require, we will be happy to work with you to build them for you. Document expiry notifications, we did show that to you, but that's used very effectively by legal departments that manage contracts so that they don't miss deadlines when they need to. You can also automate a lot of things, like you can put everything in a central folder and say that particular documents with XYZ in the file name should be moved to this folder. You can set rules like that where people can automatically move, organize, and store documents in different folders based on certain rules that can be built into the system itself. And access control is very fine-grained. Access control is actually set at the department level itself, which would mean that's the highest level of access that is set, but you can go and manipulate and change the access level either at a folder, subfolder, or a document level itself, which essentially means that somebody who can be a member of a department, you can revoke permission to for him or her to view a particular document itself, or you can invite somebody externally from another department to view only a document in that particular department, not others there. So that is how fine-grained access control can be set up on Eisenwald. These are some of our customers that allow us to showcase themselves. EDF Energy, which is a very large European-based energy company. Schneider Electric, again, based out of Europe. Cytec, then Columbia Asia Hospitals out of Malaysia. NSG, Microtech, Cry. These are some of the organizations that allow us to use their names. And a very large bank, one of the largest banks in Nepal called Komari Bank. We have been rated by a lot of organizations like Captra and others as the most friendly and easy to use software in the document management category. Security is paramount and we take it very seriously. And that's why we periodically do VAPT testing, which is an accessibility of how much penetration can happen in the system itself. We get certified for that. We're also ISO 27001 certified. We ensure passwords are changed periodically. We can do SSOs with third-party systems like Microsoft Azure, Office 365, Google, LinkedIn, or whatever an organization is comfortable with. We take incremental daily backups and weekly full backups in a geo-redundant location. So God forbid, if anything happens at the primary location of storage of your data, we can quickly bring the system up using the backup that we have for you. We've already spoken of access controls. Maybe we can move to the next Ripple. To keep cost on for our customers, we try and use as much as open source technologies available so that no license fee need to be paid to third-party software providers apart from the fees that customers need to pay us for the SaaS offering we give them. So we use open source technology as much as possible. We used JEE. We use PostgreSQL as a backend database to store documents and tables and indexes. We already spoke of multiple ways you could access the system, and we can very easily integrate with third-party systems like Oracle, SAP, Outlook, and others, so that you could seamlessly push documents from your current software systems in your organization into Eisenwald. If anything needs to be developed separately, it's very easy to develop on our platform. We could do it for you, or you could work with a third party to develop those plugins or apps on the top of Eisenwald. So this is what we primarily wanted to cover for today. We wanted to keep it short and brief, and I think we're exactly at 3:45 when we wanted to end this call. If you'd like to know more, set up a demo with us, or want one of us to visit your offices to showcase Eisenwald, feel free to reach out to us. Our contact details are mentioned in our phone number, our email ID, and our website address. Look forward to hearing from all of you in the near future. Thank you very much, everyone, for taking time to be on this call. Thank you. Prashant, over to you if you want to close the call.